Hey, Coach, so excited that you found our YouTube channel and found everything that we have to offer on teachhoops.com. If you have any questions, go click down below. We're here to help, we're here to serve. So go over and check it out up above. Hey, Coach, one more thing. Everything that we're gonna talk about in this episode will be found down below in the show notes as far as the levels of mastery. So if you want any of these things, just click down below. Enjoy. All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. So, Gene, you are in like Coach Unplugged Hall of Fame, I guess, because there's only about 3 or 4 people I've talked to more than once, and you're in that category. So,
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good category or not. Hey, I'm honored to be able to be here, Steve. Good gracious.
great category. It makes me work harder though, because then I can't ask my patented questions. I have to think outside the box, so it's good.
Well,
Mr. Read
let
and
me tell
React.
you.
Rick's been on here a couple times too, Mr. Read and React. So I must love the guys from the South. That must be it, you know.
Listen, if I'm up there with Rick, good gracious, man, I'm up there. I'm in legendary status if I'm up there with him.
You are in legendary status. So great season. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just tried not to mess them up, and everything came out in the end pretty well. So, like I said, I was proud of our kids. It was a great year for them to kind of overachieve. We'd lost 10 seniors the year before and had a young team, and man, we put challenge in front of them and great teams in front of them. Man, they answered the bell every time.
So this is what I want to dive into this a little bit. So I agree. From someone that's done a long time, sometimes I think we overcoach. We got to get out of their way. So I do agree with that. So what's your takeaway on losing that many seniors and kind of not missing a beat? What for young coaches listening? What would be the takeaway?
Well, I tell you, I think the biggest takeaway from it, Steve, was we understood where our program was at in the process when we had 10 seniors. Because when we had those 10 seniors, we basically looked at a couple of things. We said the whole year we said we got 2 agendas. Our first agenda is to maximize our upperclassmen. So we've got to take and we got to make sure we squeeze every bit of the juice out of the orange on them and make sure they reach their potential and this team reaches what they can do. But while we're doing that, we also need to make sure that we get our younger kids prepared to step into those shoes. So it was not last season didn't start last season.
Right.
It started preparation. And I know everybody talks about, making sure their program is staying on top and working. But see, we're kind of unique because we practice all our kids together. We have a philosophy that I've done for like 30 years. And so, we can take 25 kids in there from 9th grade on up, and man, we can get busy. And I talk to coaches all the time about that. There's a lot of coaches that don't feel good about it, and that's fine. I mean, it really is, because I think if you don't know how to do that, you can have disastrous effects.
Right. Do you feel with practicing with that many kids that it's the math teacher in me, that there's a huge gap between number 1 and number 25?
Oh, definitely. But the thing is, too, we feel like we get so much benefit. I think let me take a step back. I think the biggest negative, Steve, is repetition. Okay.
Right.
Because, when people will take 12 kids and they can rep them, I get that. But we feel like it's so much better for us because, everybody, the buzzword is culture. I mean, everybody knows now in athletics is culture. Everybody talks about culture. Well, how are you going to get culture when you split your program up and you have 9th graders going with this coach over here and you have your JV going with this coach over here, and they're all doing different. They're all in separate locker rooms and they're all like this and all like that. So, I'm not saying it can't be done, but man, when you got all our kids in the same locker room every day, all our kids at practice every day, all our coaches out there among each other consistently coaching and doing, running the same exact stuff and doing it, that's how our culture survives so much better a lot of times than everybody else's culture. And then you got our freshmen watching what our seniors do every day.
Right.
And so, man, I'm telling you, for us, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying this works for everybody, but for us, man, it's a game changer.
Right.
Because,
and how big is your school?
1,500.
And how many kids total? So, wow, 1,500. So I was just trying to think, because I would have to do it with 35, 40. I'd have to do it with almost 60 kids if I did it.
No, seeing you can't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that. That's what I'm saying. Everybody, that goes back to a point that always, when I get to mentor a lot of coaches and talk to them and everything else, and that goes back to the first thing. I have so many coaches, they walk in Beaufort and they go, "Hey, we want this program. We want to be just like Beaufort." And I said, "That's your first mistake."
Right.
That's your first mistake. I said, because you got to go back, and I think the first thing you got to do to build a program is you got to look at your environment all the way around, everything.
Everything.
And I think we touched on this last time, and I'm talking about everything.
That's one of the things I'm going to talk about. Legends is you got to look at everything. You have to know all the custodians. You need to know when you can get in the building. You need to know literally everything about the building and the culture if you're going to win it. And
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking about what you're saying is, like, I put everybody but my ninth graders in one locker room, and I fought for that locker room when I got the job. It's a locker room that's literally like 4 feet from the gym. And I said, I got to put them together because the youngsters will learn from the old ones. We don't practice together, but they're spending time together off the court.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, everybody's got to tweak it a little bit. I 100% agree. It is like, you need to know, like, I know I could go in the gym right now and I know I could get in, blah, blah, blah. I need to know every aspect of everything. And I need to know how the community's going to work too. Yeah.
Well, and I use this example to make them really think about it, because when you start talking about environment, like you said, it goes from your parent support to your financial support. I use this one all the time. I said, look at administration support. I said, I am an in-your-face, get after you coach. I said, that's what I've been for 32 years. I can't change.
Right.
All right, if you take me and you put me in an administration somewhere,
right,
that they're not going to have that. I said, I don't last a week.
Right.
I mean, it don't last a week.
That might be the most important thing for a young coach. Is I've done it for 30 and 25 in the same building. I've had the best administration a person could ever have, even when I was still learning, when I was still young and thinking I was the next Bobby Knight and hadn't calmed. I mean, they were patient with me, but they were supportive. They were there when I fell down. They picked me back up. You cannot overestimate your athletic director and your principal and your administration is so important.
Well, and that's part of your environment, Steve. That's what I'm saying. These guys, everybody wants to be like somebody successful, and I get that, and you should strive for that. But your environment dictates to what kind of program you're going to have. And so many people can't understand, I spent 15 years up in the mountain school of Dade. Right. And, up there, we didn't have a lot of financial support and different things, but there was things I could do there that I couldn't do at Beaufort. And things I can do at Beaufort, I couldn't do there. And I even look at it this way, Steve. I even look at what type of kid I'm coaching. Right. I mean, when I was up at Dade, let me tell you what, brother, we had those mountain girls that were just mean. I mean, they would rip
your heart out and eat it in front of you, kind of thing.
I'm telling you, my first team, I was kind of scared of. I mean, I really was, but that's what I used, that environment, to go in there and put a chip on those kids' shoulders. And man, they just eat it up. And see, that's what we're talking about when you're looking at your environment, to what kind of program you have. Is it goes to all kinds of areas. I mean, so many times people only think about stuff it takes to. If you're not planning for that, you're not going to be successable.
Right, and the thing is, you have to look at the school as a whole too, because I've seen this with coaches in our building. And on the girls' side, it sometimes tends to be volleyball, and the boys' side it tends to be football. You got to look at how the school works and the dynamic of the other coaches, and there's lots of things that go into it and those are hard things to dig into when you're interviewing for a job. They really are.
Oh, it is. It is. And when you get there, you got to find it all. I was talking to a coach yesterday, a coach in Alabama that we got a little relationship. I'm mentoring him, but he's at a smaller situation. Right now, he's got like 10 kids, 10 kids in his total program. And, I was sitting there telling him, I said, you got to understand something. When I went to Beaufort, my first year, I lost like 15 or 16 kids. I said, I went in there to create this culture. And I said, you can't do that. I said, you're handcuffed by your numbers right now. So you can't go in there and afford to run anybody off. You got to build numbers, not lose numbers.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's so many things, like I said, that people don't get. And I think that's one of the biggest things that young coaches need to understand is learning how to go in and evaluate your environment and seeing what kind of program you can build.
Right. What you can be and what you can't be. And then when you find a special one, like you and I have found ones that are special. We found environments that are
Absolutely.
special. You might find some that aren't, and you're not married to the job. You can move on to the next. There are special places out there. You just got to find that fit you.
Well, my wife helped me so much. I have to give her credit because when I was leaving Dade, I knew I was leaving for my children at that time. I wasn't leaving for me.
Right.
And we were moving up to around Atlanta, looking around Atlanta, and there was 4 or 5 of the big 7A schools up here that was huge. And she was like, no, I don't want my kids in those situations right now, because they come in from a small school and everything else. But what she really helped me do was get back into a situation that at Buford, I know every kid down in my 4th grade right now.
Right.
And so when you had that smaller school situation with one feeder school and all that, you can have more control on it.
Right.
And so you had to look at positive and negatives. Are you going to be in a huge school with 4 or 5 feeder systems and all that? Well, if you do, you're not going to ever be able to have those feeder systems on the same plane.
Right.
With me, we're running stuff. My 5th and 6th grade teams are running some of our foundations that we run in high school.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I've noticed is like I get kids from 4 or 5 different avenues. So once I get them, then I can start building. But they're coming from the south side. They're coming from our feeders. They're coming from everywhere, which is one of the hard things for me. But then you got to adjust to it. You got to kind of make it work.
Yeah, that's environment.
It is. It's environment. So how many seniors did you graduate this year?
We graduated 3 good ones. We really did. So
Okay.
we only lost. We're back to a normal senior setting. So only 3 seniors.
Okay. So you're gonna win it again.
Well, I don't know about winning again, but we play 10 kids, and we had 7 out of those 10. Like I said, we play 10-man rotation pretty much, and we got 7 coming back.
So I always, how many points per game coming back?
Oh gosh, I don't go and all y'all. Everybody.
I know, but
so much, man. I am just terrible into that. I am not a stat person. They'd stay on me so bad because I'm just a dinosaur, man. I'm going extinct pretty soon because I'm not into all that. But we lose those 3 kids, and they probably contributed. I would say 20 points combination. But man, let me tell you, they were such good leaders. I had one that people laugh at me all the time because they think when they see Buford, they got all these just high profile athletes and everything else. Well, we won the state championship 2 years in a row with a 5'6" post player.
Right.
And so that's what people don't understand. I mean, this kid would fight a tiger in a cage, but but she was 5'6" and played some of the best post players in the state of Georgia in every classification and just held her own with everybody.
So that's something that people talk about too is leaders. Let's talk about that a little bit. What's your feeling on leaders? How do you find leaders? How do you develop leaders?
Well, we really believe in leadership, and we believe that you are only going to be as good as your seniors. I mean, we really feel like that. But the other thing is, I think that some kids, you can train them, and they're just not leaders. I mean, So sometimes I feel like that according to your senior class, you want those kids leading and you want those doing the best that you can. But if you don't get that from them, it's got to be a coach-led team sometimes.
Yep.
And so, I think some of the biggest things that we do with our leadership is we do from the start of the season, we back up 10 weeks for our preseason conditioning to get ready for the season. But we also back up 5 weeks from that day, and we do some classroom stuff. And matter of fact, we're about to sit down the next couple of weeks and do this. We'll sit down and look at what that team needs. And
you do that with the kids, or you do that as your staff?
Well, we're going to look at it with our staff first, but then those 5 weeks, we'll bring them in on Wednesday, and we'll have an hour-and-a-half situation. Like last year, one of my assistant coaches did leadership and communication for 30 minutes. I mean, great drill stuff. I mean, not drill stuff, but stuff that she had researched, brought in, talked about, and did all this stuff. We also brought in a book that our kids had to present to our team. So we didn't get a book copy for everybody. What we did was we bought like 4 or 5 copies, and the book was Chop Wood, Carry Water. And
Right.
we brought that in, and say our 3 seniors, they had to cover the first 3 chapters. And so they had to get up in front of the other team and talk about it, and talk about how it pertained to our team, and talk about how it pertained to chemistry and all those things, and present it. Then the next week, 3 juniors would get up and do it. And so everybody got their turn of going through, and it's kind of like a book report thing.
Okay.
But everybody got at it in a classroom setting. And then the coolest thing that was done is that was a 30-minute segment. And in the last 30 minutes, we have what's called controllable factors in our program. We feel like that we have 5 controllable factors that no matter what the kid's athleticism is, no matter what their size is, you can do this and help our team win. And those 5 are defense, rebounding, attitude, effort, and communication. And one of our coaches went back from the year before and took film and broke down, say we were doing rebounding this one time as one of our controllable factors. She did like a 10-minute breakdown film of just rebounding in games and hustling, and she just did that. And so our kids not only heard it, they got to see it.
What's the difference between attitude
man,
and effort? What's your difference between attitude and effort?
Well, we think effort is so much more about just playing hard and playing all out. And,
Okay.
with that, man, she'd have stuff like diving for loose balls, taking charges, diving out of bounds to save things. Attitude was more like body language, more like team, supporting your teammates, running. She'd have clips on the attitudes of somebody taking a charge and 4 kids sprinting over there to pick them up off the floor, and different things about the attitude wise. So, like I said, we really feel like those things, we call them controllable factors because it's things that you can control. They don't matter. Every night you can control those 5 things. And we tell them if you can master 3 of them, you got a great shot of playing for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might not shoot the ball well, but you can control your defense, your rebounding, your attitude, your effort, and your communication no matter what. Every day you can do that.
Absolutely.
love that.
And buddy, let me tell you what, we are on those. Our kids know them. It's part of our program. It's part of our culture, and we preach it. We just don't, we try. I'm telling you right now, if we try to make sure our best defensive player is in the starting lineup. Right. We had a kid 2 years ago on those 10 seniors. We had more talented kids. We had a kid that I promise you would play great defense in the press, never shot the ball. But, man, she could drive it and pitch it in the dribble drive and everything else. Right. She only shot layups. But, see, so many coaches give lip service. Oh, you play defense, you're going to be out there playing. No, if we're going to tell you that,
right,
we're going to show you that. And like I said, there's some more talented kids. But this kid started for us and was a major player for us, and we made it a big deal every time. Every time. Right. I mean, we made it a big deal how much she sacrificed for her teammates, never looking to shoot the ball, and always looking to play defense and everything else. So, I think that's huge with building your program.
I love that. I love the rolling back too. We do very similar things. We don't do as much classroom stuff, but definitely the conditioning stuff. Do the girls play a fall sport?
We encourage our kids to try to be multi-sport athletes, but like in today's world, we have a lot of basketball players. Now we have a few volleyball players and a few softball players. And man, our softball players are usually kids that our softball program has been really great. Right. And they have great character in that program. So man, those kids come in and we don't have to do much with them. They're ready to roll. I mean, they really are. I got one of those kids right now that she's a great softball player, and we're her second sport. But, man, she loves our program. And let me tell you what, we put her on the floor. Somebody better watch out because she'll knock your teeth in. she don't play around now. She don't play around.
Are there any favorite drills or things that you do that you could share with the coaches?
Well, I am really big about I'm a drill coach, but the thing about my drills is I make sure that they're in series. because I don't like to waste any time. Like if I'm starting out with ball handling stuff, I mean, we're going to go where we ain't got, okay, all of a sudden one person, everybody's got a ball. Then next thing you know, they got to put them on the racks. And all that. I'm really big about taking drills and putting them in series. So once I blow the whistle, boom, 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 we go right into everything in rhythm and everything else. So, I go back to this with drill, Steve, and I truly believe this. I think everybody does a lot of the same things. I really do. But I always go back, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Right.
And I know that sounds so basic and so just cliche and everything else. But, I'm telling you, man, it's just, you saw our kids when there's demonstrating those Breakfast Club drills. Yep. I mean, you see these other on the internet, everybody's standing up and balls high and nobody's got any ball snap on it and everything else. We just drill our kids. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And
what do you think is the hardest thing to teach?
As far as a skill?
Yeah.
Oh, ain't no doubt. The hardest skill to teach is shooting, because everybody wants to be a crapping social shooter. Everybody wants to shoot it at their speed. Everybody, when you put kids in there, they love to go in the gym and shoot it the way they want to shoot it. Right. Now, when you get in there and you start putting them in game situations where they got to shoot it, and also then all of a sudden try to teach them that you got to have dead legs to shoot it. We tell our kids all the time, you're going to be pressing for 32 minutes. You're going to warm up harder than everybody else for 15 minutes. At the end of the game, our big advantage is they're not going to be able to shoot it. Your butt better be able to shoot it because of our conditioning and how you've been trained.
Right.
So, and shooting, the other thing too I think about shooting is most kids are just good enough to get you beat. Let me tell you that. I'm telling you right now, most kids are just good enough to get your butt beat.
Well, I can tell you, it's true. It's true. Like the kid that lives in my house, so we've gotten to the point where he can shoot NBA threes at about a 70% clip with no defenders. I'm not lying. He can shoot the ball. But we're not. So he got to that point maybe early spring, mid-spring. It's like, all right. So what I did was, it's like, all right, now we need to work on your speed. Now we need to work on you.
Absolutely.
All that. So it's like he can go in and it's like shooting a layup at this point, shooting those shots. It's like, all right. So we literally go in and we'll shoot 100 as fast as he could possibly get them off. Like it looks crazy, but it's like I said, Drew, you got to feel what it feels like to go fast, because that's what it's going to feel like in a game. Then we'll do it with pressure. Then we do it off moving. And then we do it off of, attack and kick, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, the problem is people get in that comfort zone and they think they can score. And it's like, in an empty gym with no one on you, you can. Great.
Yeah, you watch some of these kids go in there, and not picking on boys, but, man, boys are too cool attitudes. But, man, I watch them. They'll come in, pick a ball off the rack, walk over there, shoot that baby, walk and get it, come back, do a little head fake, shoot it again. I want to go, man, you need to get your butt out of the gym, because you are fooling yourself. And like I said, you're wasting time.
Right.
And so, with the shooting, I think we always talk about the main word with our shooting, all our shooting drills and whatever we do is consistency. Because we tell them, here's what most people do. Most people hit a shot, then they'll miss 2 or 3. Then they'll come back and hit 2 shots, and then they'll miss basically 2 or 3 more, or 3 or 4. So that's not what you're looking for. No. What you're looking for is to be able to hit 3 shots, miss 1, come back, hit 2 shots, miss 1, come back, hit 4 shots.
Right.
Now you're shooting a percentage.
Right.
Because I said, you can't make everything, but I said consistency in doing it is huge. And shooters, like I said, there's so many kids that are just good enough that they think they're good shooting the ball that they get your butt beat.
Right. And what I would tell some young coaches too, and I've done this with my son, is too, it's like every time you miss in your head, or when he was younger, I made him say it out loud. Why did you miss that shot? Why did you miss it short? Why did you miss it long? Did you not have enough spit? It's got to. There's a reason you missed. Like you have to kind of use that as a laboratory a little bit.
Listen, me and you do not need to get together, because you just said something that I truly believe in, that when we talk about our shooters, we explain to them, because, I go through talking about stuff and everything, but I think the kids have got to be able to coach themselves shooting the basketball. Right. And so we talk about there's 4 ways to miss a shot. You miss a shot left, right, short, long, or a combination of those 4.
Yep.
Okay. If you're missing left and right, that's a straight line problem. So we talk to them about, okay, what are the straight line problems? So we talk about hands. We talk about all this stuff. So we teach
It's
them.
mechanical
Okay?
problems. If you're missing left, right, it's mechanical problems.
Absolutely, in straight line. And so we try to get them to understand. If you're missing long, short, which people miss short 70%, it's a release point. It's a power out of your legs, or it's a follow through problem. Yep. And so we try to, I use this example with them. I said, okay, how many times y'all have seen me call timeout in the game and go, Susie Q, listen, your shot is not going in. And the reason why it's not going in is because your elbow's not in and you're not following through. I ain't got time for that crap.
Right.
Okay. You miss your shot. You need to be understanding just what you just said to your son. You got to understand, okay, I just missed that shot. I missed it short. What did I do wrong?
Right.
And so they've got to be able to, and that goes back to what we're talking about with teaching skill.
Right.
Is, shooting is not a complicated skill to teach, in my opinion, because, like I said, you can correct the stuff. It's getting kids to change, because kids they hit just enough that they think they're good.
They do.
And they do not want to change.
No. And
so I'm telling you, it's
hard work. It's hard work to change. Like my son was kind of because he wasn't strong enough till about a year ago. So he was a good shooter, but he was a two-handed guy,
Right. And tough control.
And he had no control, and it wasn't consistent. So we literally he didn't play any AAU last summer, and we spent 3 months and we broke the shot down. Now, is that left hand? He's right-handed. Is that left hand still on there a little bit? Yes, but it's not. It has the rotation is unbelievably good. So but it takes a lot of work. That's what people don't understand. It's like, you ain't gonna just become a shooter by just thinking you're gonna become a shooter. You got to put the time in.
And the thing about shooting too is also training kids the right way.
Right.
Because I think you're going to get about 65, 70% is going to be catch and shoot. There's no doubt about it. A lot of times you're going to get 65, 70% of your shots. So you need to work on that. But then the other thing is, and I think it's a lost art of basketball, is to pull up jump shot. Is being able to take it one dribble and pull up. And so now kids don't get that at all. So, we're trying to train our kids of, number one, how they're going to get their shots in a game and where they're going to get their shots in the game, but then also making sure that they can do the other parts of scoring, like shooting off the move. Right. And then we try to explain to them there's a difference between shooting off the move and shooting off the dribble. Right. Who needs to be able to shoot off the dribble? There's not but one position that gets a lot of that. That's your point guard.
Right.
So don't waste your time on that. Put it into the other two areas.
Yes. Yeah. Like my son my son's can play point, but he's more of a two guard. He doesn't work on pull up jumpers. Now, a skill that he does work on that's another lost skill is the mid range bank shot.
Oh yes, Lord. Don't even get that. Kids, do this, Steve. Just go in here and see how many kids. They get so mad at me because when we're going through shooting drills, I make them shoot series off the backboard at 45 degrees. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is to make them get their release point up and to keep their eyes on a certain point. Mm-hmm. And they just hate it. They absolutely. And I said, here's the deal. You can't shoot the basketball. Don't even tell me you're a shooter if you can't shoot it off the glass. Don't even come there. Don't even come with that. Don't tell me that. So let me tell you what, like I said, we'd be dangerous together.
But the scary part is, how often do you see that shot? The bank shot?
Because they've lost it.
It's gone.
Man,
it's like the mid-range.
A 12-foot pull-up off the glass is as good a shot as you can get.
It's like a layup. I tell my son, and he's shooting threes now because he's like pissed at me for saying it to him for like 6 years. He can shoot a high school 3-pointer off the board on a pretty consistent basis. And
that's good because that means his eyes can lock on something.
It can. And now is he ever going to shoot many of those in a game? No, but he can lock in. And I told him, I said, Drew, here's the issue. Maybe it's the end of the game and you got a tenth of a sec, you got 0.7 of a second left and you have to grab it and it goes fast. That's an easy target. It's a much easier target than trying to, hit that rim. So I don't know. I just think it's a loss. It's definitely a lost art. It's,
Well, I just think that people don't emphasize it the way they need to. And like I said, in our shooting, when we're working on form and all that stuff, we make them shoot different series where they have to shoot off the glass.
So let's say,
I'm just telling you.
let's say it's the middle of January and I'm in Atlanta and I walk into your gym. Walk me through like your practice. Just briefly walk me through how long it would be, what you would do. Boom. What would the practice look like
Okay.
if I was sitting there?
All right. If you come to my practice in January, it's going to look different than if you came to my practice in October, November. Because in October, November, we're going to practice for 2.5 hours. Okay.
Really? You go
And
2.5?
Yes, we will go 2.5 starting up. And then let me tell you what, when I know I hear coaches all the time, oh, you can't practice all 2.5. Well, come on to Atlanta and watch us.
Okay,
Okay.
so here's a question before we go into that. 2.5 is that 2.5 include weights, video, anything like that, or is that just 2.5 on the court?
No, but here's pretty much on the court.
Okay.
But here's what we're going to do too. When you walk into our gym to watch, I've got 3 of my coaches that work at our middle school. So me and my other coach will be there. They don't get there like 3:10, and we got to have them on the floor 2:45. So at 2:45, when our kids come in, we give them 1 minute to do a drill we call where your feet are at. So for 1 minute, they're going to sit there, and I want them not moving, not doing anything. They're going to focus on 1 minute about leaving everything behind from that day, and they're going to focus on where their feet's at. They're going to focus on getting them mentally ready for basketball. They just come in, and you're going to see them when I put that clock on and I cut it on, wherever they're at, they're stopping. They're not stretching and all that stuff. They're right there. I want them to take a minute and be thankful, think about what they need to work on, what they're thankful for. It is just a minute of mental preparation.
So is it dead silent? It's dead silent?
Dead silent, yes, sir. Dead silent.
I love that, Coach. I'm stealing that. I love that.
It's real. I stole it from somebody else. So many kids got so many things going on in their life right now. Okay, we tell them it's okay, but here's the deal, man. You got to get ready. You got to, how many people start practicing? Oh, you're not really ready. You're not ready to go. Okay, well, this is your minute to get it right.
I love that.
So there ain't no excuses.
So for the young coaches listening to this, what you just said we need to unplug society and boom, 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 in the Snapchat society and the Twitter society, that's going to allow a teenage brain to kind of come down. I love that. That's a great idea. It could be a minute of meditation. It doesn't matter as long as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care because I can't control what they're thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what? There's your minute. I don't want no excuses, and I don't want to hear no crap. Okay. But I'm not mentally ready. Then one thing that's really helped us, and this was out of necessity, is since I got that break before all my coaches get there, we do 15 to 20 minutes of shooting. Okay. So we have the guns set up. We have them broken down where my post players are they're shooting drills. My guards are doing, and everything that we do shooting drill wise is off our offense.
Okay. And you do this all season long? All season long? Yeah,
pretty much. We do this at our home gym. When we go to the arena where we play at, it's only got 2 goals, so we have to alternate our practice with that.
Okay.
But when we're in our home gym, we get 15 to 20 minutes of game shots, of getting them up in our offense. It's dribble drive. We got all of them. It's like I said, series of shots and everything else. So, we're getting ready to go there. But I let them do about 2 minutes or 3 minutes of form shooting to get loose first, so they can get their form down and everything else. But now when we hit those, we're full speed. Then after that, my coaches get there, and that's when we go into basically some fundamentals. We do a lot of ball handling, especially early in the year. I'm going back to October. So I think, the big thing is we got to get our ball handling back. So we do a lot of our Breakfast Club stuff that we do, series of Breakfast Club drills that you saw.
Yep.
And then from there, after we do that, then we go off into whatever fundamentals, shell drills, pressing, all that stuff. I mean, it's mixed up every day with whatever we need and all like that. But if you want something practice idea wise, I like this. This is something that we've been doing. I've been doing probably for 20 years, and I really love this. And I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it works for us. I don't know if I mentioned on the last podcast our install days. But on our install days, here's what we do. We trade off Fridays for Saturdays. On every Saturday when the season starts up, I'm going to bring my kids in on Saturday, and they know that is an install day. It's not going to be a day I fatigue them or try to kill them, condition them, or whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to come in on that day and we're going to install one of our big foundations of our program. So like the first Saturday, I can tell you, we're going to take our whole half-court man-to-man defense, whole thing, from terminology to all the breakdown drills to breaking it all down to putting it all back together, and we're going to cover that whole foundation on that day.
Okay.
And it's going to be teaching, and here's the deal. It's going to take about 3.5 to 4 hours because I'm going through it all. I'm talking about everything.
Okay.
Helpline, everything that we do. Because here's my question to you. When do you install big parts of your program in practice? Because if you do it at the beginning of practice, okay, you just set the tone for practice to kind of start off slow. If you do it in the middle of practice, well, I think the cardinal sin is to get them going in a huge, hard practice, and all of a sudden you stop them and try to teach them something, because then it is like pulling wild horses to get them back at that speed.
It's like herding
cats. And then if you do it, and then if you do it at the end of practice, what are they focused on? They're ready to get out of there. They ain't focused on that. So what I found out is Fridays are an awful day for basketball practice, especially in the fall, because what does everybody want to do on Friday?
Go to the football game.
Go to the football game. So most of my biggest battles has been crapping Friday, fighting kids about wanting to go to football games. So what we may do on a Friday is we may come in and have a 45-minute shooting practice or 45 minutes of something that I want to put in or something like that to kind of install. But I trade Fridays for Saturdays. And we will put in and install our biggest thing. So now when I come back on Mondays, we are ready to go for 2.5 hours without stopping. Right. We are ready for that whole practice to be smooth, to be intense, to be there. And I'm telling you, that has been something that has worked so well for us in the practice situation, is just having install Saturdays.
How many days do you have before your first game?
We will usually start about October the 29th or 27th, right around there. And then we usually don't play to around November 17th. Now, what I used to do to combat that is, like I said, I have four major foundations. We have half-court defense. We have our 1-2-2 containment press. We have dribble drive offense and our zone principles. Right. What I used to do when I first got to Buford is I would do an install on Saturday. We'd put a defense in, take 3 hours or so to put that in, and we would stop and feed them lunch.
Right.
Give them some lunch, and then we come back and we put an offensive part in. Well, now I don't have to spend as much time because my program is, like we said, all the way down to the sixth grade, so these kids know it a lot better. So I can get it in a lot quicker than what I used to. So I don't have to do that anymore.
Okay. I'm just thinking of the coaches listening to this going, okay, that sounds good in theory, but I've got 8 days before my first game. How do I do that?
Absolutely. Wait a minute. What does this podcast start out with? Your what?
Right.
Environment.
Right.
And that's part of your environment too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of it too.
I love the install day. I do love that it's like, this is going to be a cerebral day for you. You're going to have to think. You're going to, we're not going to beat you up, but we're going to go for 4 hours or 3.5 hours. Or we're going to go long. Let's get all
and we break it down, Steve. I'm talking about to the T. So guess what? If you didn't get it, by God, you wasn't paying attention. Because I'm telling you, we will break it all the way. And I'm talking about all our shell drills down, all our charge drills, whatever has got to be done in that. All our drills are put in, it's done, it's over with. It's there.
Do you set a lot of ball screens in your dribble drive?
No, I don't. We do a few, but most of those are out of some secondary sets that we'll do.
Okay. Do you set a lot of screens in dribble drive?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I don't. We are just attacking gaps and trying to make you guard space and drawing you and pitching and everything.
I think that's a really hard skill to teach, is screening.
I do too. I totally agree with you. Matter of fact, I think that if you can teach how to read screens in high school, you're going to be very, very successful, because everybody does such a poor job of defending screens.
I got to pick some people's brains at the clinic about, because I'm realistic about my strengths and weaknesses. I gotta learn how to break it down into the minuscule for them better on screening. Cause I think if you can screen, you can win at the boys level. I do. I mean,
Oh,
if
I
you can read
totally
'em,
agree. I totally agree. Well,
um,
even it's going to help your whole game because think of how much you need it for blobs and slobs out of bounds and all that stuff,
right.
and where you can steal easy points because most people don't screen.
Well, they don't screen, and then I think it will help our defense too, because are you icing? Are you hedging? Are you what? Are you fighting through it? What I'm thinking. I have a little point guard too, and I'm thinking, he's 5'8". I mean, the people are going to try to isolate him in the post, so I think we're gonna kind of jam the screen. We're gonna switch on a lot of things, and then when he gets screened, we're gonna screen the screener. So he can't roll to the basket, and then we'll just
Take him out of his role.
right take him out of his role. If your guy goes and screens the point guard, just screen him. Don't let him roll, and then the point guard will be fast enough to either step over or step under. But just setting the screens is such a hard thing to teach, and there's
It is.
not a lot out there.
I tell you one thing we try to do with our screening that I think helps a little bit is we try to just teach them to open up whenever they set a screen of being able to pivot and open up, just so you're making almost a double screen every time. So whichever way the defense, because most defense don't get around it. So I tell you what, we get together. Remind me to show you a thing that we have. We do as one of our warm up drills.
Okay.
With forearms, because we feel like forearms are the most under-taught skill in basketball. Because with using your forearm, everybody wants to use their hands, but the referees that's kind of the only thing that you can get away with as a weapon is your forearms. And man, we work on every day because we blow up screens with our forearms. We check people with our forearms. We basically learn to spin and pin on boxing out with forearms. And then you think about this. Everybody talks about your legs getting tired. I don't think your legs are the first thing to go. I think your shoulders in basketball are the first thing to go because kids want to play with their hands down.
Yeah.
And so, so that's one thing that we really work on is teaching our kids how to use their forearms as weapons and keeping people off their bodies. And so we have something that we do every day. It's a really simple thing, but it's just good for technique. Because you use it so much. You use it so much.
You do. So do you do anything postseason? Like after the season, do you do any? How do you handle the postseason? Like after
they're tired of me. They're tired of me, and I'm tired of them.
Touche.
Postseason. This is the thing we feel like is we have dark periods, what we call dark periods.
Okay.
And with our dark periods, let me tell you, this will make more sense. Let me go to springtime. Okay. It used to be when I was coaching in my other school, this one class of girls really spoiled me because we played the state championship on like Friday night. Had a great group of seniors coming back, and on Monday, man, I had like 4 of them in the gym. Coach, man, we got to get here. We got to get better. We got to get better. And for this crew all the way up in their high school, man, they were always like that. So what did I think is all kids should be like that. So, springtime, what I used to do is I'd take and get ready for workouts and all that stuff. And I'd go through and I'd get all my kids and put them in their workout numbers and when they're supposed to come and do all that. Well, here comes the spring, and I got all these workout schedules and everything else. And here comes these kids dragging butt in the gym. They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to do. But I had them scheduled, and they wasn't going to disappoint me, so here they come. So then it usually ends up being not a good workout, me getting mad, them getting mad, frustrated, everything else. So I kind of got smarter, or at least I don't know if it's smarter, but I kind of did this. I started to understand that, okay, it's springtime. These kids are sick of me. I'm probably sick of them. Love's in the air. They want to be doing spring sports. They want to get outside. They want to do this. So I quit scheduling these workouts. But what I did was this. I knew I had some kids that really wanted to be there. Right. Because, in your program, I think you have to meet the needs of every kid. Well, every kid's needs and wants are different.
It's teaching.
So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, so what we did was we said, okay, the kids that want to be there in the spring, what you got to do is sign up for your workouts. Because here's the other thing. If I got to force a kid to go in the gym in the spring, you're not going to get anything out of it.
No.
Okay.
No.
And then I'm wasting that kid's time.
Right.
I'm also wasting my time that I could be with my family.
Right.
Okay. And then the one that you don't think about, Steve, is this. Maybe there's a kid that wants to be in the gym more but can't get in there because you got all these workout schedules because, you got to go by all those rules and all that stuff. So what we do in the dark periods are we will be available for kids to do workouts and want them to do workouts, but you have to sign up for them.
Right.
And you have to basically be in a situation that I tell a kid, you should not work out one time a week. You're wasting your time.
Right.
You got to at least work out 2 times a week or more. And so during the dark periods, that's what we let them do. And our kids know that if Susie Q's over here working and I'm not, she's going to probably play.
She's going to play.
So they get
competitive. You know what I think too, and I've always told people this is maybe it's me getting older, but I need to take 2 or 3 weeks and just get my breath back. And then, there's 52 weeks in the year, guys. I take 2 in August and I'm going to take 2 after the season. That's you see 48 weeks of me if you want. I need to take a break. And I would advise most young coaches, take a deep breath. The season's over. Evaluate the season, kind of reflect on the season. The only way you can do that is to get away a little bit from that.
Well, you're right. And I got one of my great assistants been with me, a female has been with me 13 years. She's got me to the point of sometimes making me think this. And let me tell you, this is a better way to think. She sometimes makes me think, okay, is this really worth it? Is us making this kid come in or us having this practice on this day,
right,
is it really going to be worth the results? And sometimes we think we got to do it because it's, everybody else is doing it. And sometimes it is not worth the results. It is not.
Right.
And you got to do that.
Right
now, I've just met with our coaches yesterday because our kids just coming off this July AAU period.
Right.
And man, they are war. I got one of my coach's daughter plays, and he's like, Gene, she can't move. She is done.
Right. And the thing is, and you're not going to win or lose a state championship in 3 weeks in August. You're really not.
No, sir. No,
you're not.
You're not. You're not going to do that. You're absolutely. But the other part of it though is this, and this goes back to environment. Like the coach I had on the phone yesterday, he's trying to change culture. Well, you can't put it in your kids' hands to change culture. You're going to probably have to say, y'all are coming in to work out.
Yes.
My program is where it is now for 14 years, and everything's running smooth and all like that. But we've been able to do it now and have dark periods and all that. You can't start changing your culture and have dark periods. You can't do that. No. You've got to get your hardest workers in there doing so.
Right.
Like we done come back 4 or 5 times. You got to look at the environment of your program and what you're trying to do.
And what you're trying to build. Yes.
Absolutely.
And you and I have spent, we're later in our twilight parts of our career. So we've spent those, 80 hours a week in the gym with the guy. I mean, we have. You got to definitely read the program. All right. Any parting words, Coach? First of all, come to the clinic. I think it's September 14th, if I have my date right. Make sure you come. Super excited. It was very well run. But make sure you come to that. Any parting words for people, Coach?
No, I'm telling you, I'm excited to be a part of it again. And I'm telling you, they got some really tremendous coaches. Glenn Hicks is going to be there, and I've known Glenn. Good gosh, let me tell you what. The old Loyola Marymount style, his kids, I wanted to hire him as offensive coordinator because this cat can teach people how to score now. I'm telling you, I watched his team when I was at Dade County, and they averaged 112 points one season.
No.
Coach, they led the nation. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy. And I'm telling you, I watched that team play, and let me tell you what, I'd see the scores. It'd be 140 to 110, and I'm telling you now, they could put some points up on the board. Now, I would have went crazy. Me being a defensive coach, I'd have fired everybody and probably went crazy and all that. But I'm telling you now, everywhere he's went, he has been able to teach kids about shooting the basketball and how to score.
Well, and I think something for young coaches, and I've said this too. I was talking to a coach the other day. It's like And that's the thing with these clinics is you have to look at your environment and do what you need to do. You can do what Virginia did and win a national title. You can do what Duke does and Kentucky does and win a national title. They don't have to be the same thing. They can all be a little.
No, man.
Um,
That goes to one of my favorite sayings that start clinics off with. You need to learn to adapt and not adopt.
yes.
You look at what people do and you try to adapt it for what you do. Don't adopt it.
Right.
Because if you adopt it, it might not work.
It might not work. I mean, when I was in high school, there was no 3-point line. When I was in high school, we ran the flex. If you did that,
oh yes,
now,
sir, me too.
It's just you have to change with the times, and that's the thing. Is like try to figure out what's going on. All right. Well, I wrote myself a note, so we're going to talk forearms when I see you in September.
I can't wait. Hey, let me tell you what, I enjoyed so much spending time with you last time at that clinic. It was wonderful, and that's one of the great things about, tell young coaches, kind of the clinic days have kind of passed. I heard Jim Foster, he came up and did one of our clinics when I used to do some clinics up here at Buford, and he made a point that I never thought about, Steve. He said, now clinic days are kind of over. We all grew up going to clinics and grew up sharing at clinics and everything else. He said, but now because of the internet and because of so much information access out there, that a lot of people, young coaches now don't go to clinics. And that, when I started thinking about it, it's true. I mean, it really is. And it's great. The problem, I think, with so much information is there's so much bad information.
Right.
That's what you just said. It's just so much bad.
It's just noise. The thing is, the thing about going to these clinics is you get to meet other coaches, and there's nothing like talking to another coach one-on-one to, a group of 3 or 4. I told Kevin, I said, at the end of this clinic, I'll stay around as long as people want. We can sit in a room. If coaches that come have questions, I'm more than willing to help. It's like, if he wants to have a Q&A, shoot, the brain power and the number of wins in this gym is going to be crazy. Why not let the coaches pick our brains? I don't know. I mean, I might have one golden nugget that somebody can use. I don't know, but
don't you give me that, brother. That's what I'm saying. That when you got a growth mindset, that I know we're about to run out of time, but that's what I was on our coaches. We had a big coaches meeting the other day at Buford with our whole coaching staff and everybody there, and I had to speak in there. We do a thing called the Clinic of Champions that you speak at. But my main thing was this. I said, look at the coaches we have. Our AD sat us in one time in the office, and you had a boys basketball coach had 9 state championships. You had a wrestling coach had 8 state championships. You had a softball coach that had won 10 straight state championships and been a part of 15. You had a football coach that had 7, and then I had like 6 or 7. And I tell these coaches, I said, I hear y'all whining and complaining all the time. I said, your biggest resource is right here with you.
Right.
I said, all you got to do is, if you want anything to learn, you got coaches here that want to share and want to do. But I said, you're crazy for not taking advantage of it.
There's things I do that I learned from when I took over our job. We were a hockey school, and our hockey coach had won like 6 straight titles. Who's the first person I talked to when I walked in the building was the hockey coach. And he gave me some he gave me some great ideas that I still use to this day with tournament time and getting them ready because my goal is to win a state title. It's like, so I talked to the guy that had won a bunch. It's like he was able to give me some information that's very helpful.
When I went to Buford, I infiltrated the football program because they were great, and I wanted to see what they were about. So I went in there and was their equipment manager.
Right.
I would go with them on Friday night and work on helmets and all that stuff because I was in there trying to look and see, okay, what makes this thing special? What makes them do what they're doing?
Right.
But that's a growth mindset.
Yep. And what I tell my guys, and they know this, I said, I don't do anything without thinking about it. Like nothing. Like I'm the last one to get on the bus. I'm always the last one. I mean, I think about every aspect of everything that we do. So you don't have to worry about that. You got to just, do what we're doing and you'll be fine. But it's like, that's the thing is you have to go through all that information and it's been thought about. It's like, why do we prep this way? Why do we watch film this way? Why do we do this? Because trust me, the old dog on the porch has thought about this before you even were born, probably.
You're right, brother.
That's what I tell them. All right, Coach, I'll see you in September.
Listen, I cannot thank you enough for this opportunity. Like I said, we have a hard time getting off the phone, which I guess that's a good thing. But, man, I really enjoy sharing.
All right,
I enjoy sharing, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yep, thanks. Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. Let me know how we can help. Join teachhoops.com up above. I've been through it all. I've won championships, won a bunch of rings. Let me know how I can help you become a better basketball coach. Click teachhoops.com and check it out.